Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television GPTV. I'm Brett. In my hands is an interesting graphic novel out this week. This is uncorrected proof, so I'm assuming it's pretty close to the final version. But this is Freiheit, the White Rose graphic novel. It is by Andrea Grosso Ciponte and published by Plough Publishing House. So it's an interesting graphic novel. So it's about this group called the White Rose Society, and it's a group of students who resisted against Hitler and the Nazi regime during World War II. It's funny, it's like I actually don't think I know about them. This was a new thing. This was a new thing to me. Like, so it's a bunch of students, and they wrote 6 leaflets that got handed out, and it was kind of like calls to resist. And they were caught and executed eventually. But their leaflets lived on, and it's been 80 years, and they've inspired a lot of people. Their writings kind of are celebrated and examined and used for calls of other actions. And it's an interesting story about activism in face of like just complete terror and cruelty and just like as bad as society can be. And it's fascinating. Like, I really didn't know anything about them, so like I'm kind of reading the story, just being like, where's this going? And it kind of gets to the end of it, and I mean, it's history, so I don't feel like I'm spoiling anything. But they started off in June 1942, and they started distributing these leaflets. That whole thing was kind of attempt to expose the Nazi atrocities and the horrible regime that has taken over their country. And they were young, like they're 21, 24, 23, and 25. And basically it's like while they were silenced, their writings inspired those to come and generations of resistors to come. So, I mean, it's interesting to read this. Like, the media threat has abated here in the U.S. The threat itself has not. And I think it's a really fascinating read to get you to reflect of like, what would you do to be in that situation? If Trump were to win 4 more years, like, what would we have done? Would we have had our own White Rose? Would we have had our own resistors? And I'm not talking about people who actually like protested the streets. Like, this was some pretty like hardcore 1960s type protesting. Like, we need to put out leaflets to get people to they themselves activate and resist, and what type of resistance do we want to do? And I think that was one of the more interesting things is they themselves debated as to what their message was. If their message was to kill and destroy, they would be maybe no better than the people they were trying to overthrow and stop. So it's a really interesting examination of them. Like, it's kind of it's a fascinating history, and you can see them kind of going back and forth on that. And the other thing really that's cool in it is this has all 6 of their leaflets in the back, so you can read what they distributed and get a better sense as to like what they've done. And the story itself, like, it's a little mixed on that. Like, I thought the narrative itself was a little choppy, but it's a kind of a good, like, overall giving you kind of the big picture of it, of what they did. So like, it's a good introduction to White Rose and how they resist and all that, but like details I think it's not quite there. It's not diving in to really examine their leaflets and what they were trying to, and what they said, not what they were trying to say, just what they said and what was maybe going on at the time. There's a little bit of it, but it kind of dances around like the heavy details. So it's a good introduction to everything. But I think it's just the fascinating is reading it is for me, who I consider myself an activist, and I work in the world of politics. So coming at this, you reflect as to what you've done in the past and how what imprint have you done, and would you be willing to go to the guillotine for what you believe? And you know, I sit here and say I don't know. Like, you know, I know I've done some good, but I know I could always do more. And you know, it's interesting to compare one's own reality to what others have lived and real history. So, I mean, that to me was what I kind of came out of this from is, you know, it's a story of resistance. It's a story of movement. It's a story of fighting against pure evil, and students doing it, the youths doing it. And I think we are in that beginning, or, you know, part of it of seeing the youth again rise up and really try to change the world for better. So it's a fascinating thing. It's a really interesting piece of history, and you know, for me it was a good introduction to it all. The art's cool. Like, I really kind of dig this style. I don't know quite how to describe it. At times, I'll admit, like, some of the characters were a little bit hard to keep track of. But overall, like, it's really beautiful art. So yeah, I mean, this is really just about kind of a handful of students who found the courage to resist, and the story of the White Rose. So I mean, like, you know, there are some things worth dying for, and they did it. And that's what happened to them. They found a cause that was just and put their lives on the line and, like, gave their lives for it. So it's for a just cause, and you know, it's a really interesting piece of history, and I think a good reminder of sometimes what you need to do to fight evil. Out now, it's in comic shops. You can go get it. We got a link beneath this video. Put in your zip code. Tell the shops near you. No shop, no problem. We do have affiliate links. There are affiliate links, so we get a small percentage of that by doing that. You help support our site. But really, you should go support your comic shop. Really, that's where you should go. I want to thank Plough Publishing for hooking us up with this. I appreciate it. This was actually pretty cool to check out, and really neat piece of history to learn. I'm gonna have to go learn some more about them. If you're into graphic novels, if you're into comics, check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com, or on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. So until next time, keep reading those comics and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.